It was an early summer morning in Cincinnati, Ohio, 1996. The streets were alive with the hum of commuters and the distant sounds of riverboats on the Ohio River. Among the city's residents, Clara Jensen, 23, was preparing for another day as a youth program coordinator at the Cincinnati Community Learning Center. Clara was known for her warmth, creativity, and tireless dedication. Her work involved mentoring children, organizing community events, and developing educational programs that encouraged learning through exploration. Families and colleagues spoke of her enthusiasm, her ability to inspire confidence, and her gentle, nurturing approach to every child she encountered. Outside her professional life, Clara enjoyed painting, hiking, and volunteering at local libraries. Her modest apartment was filled with books, art supplies, and personal mementos from her students. Friends often described her as someone who could bring out the best in people, encouraging curiosity and fostering a love for learning in everyone around her. On June 18, 1996, Clara had planned to attend a local art supply workshop to prepare materials for a summer program at the center. She carried her notebook, teaching aids, and a small tote bag containing documents and art supplies. It was a routine day, carefully planned, reflecting the thoughtful and structured approach she brought to her work and personal life. By the afternoon, Clara had not returned home. Her roommate Tanya Brooks contacted Clara's parents, Richard and Elaine Jensen. Concerned, the family went to her apartment. Everything appeared orderly. Her tote bag lay neatly on the kitchen counter. Her notebook was open on the dining table, and her supplies were carefully arranged. Yet her absence was deeply felt, filling the apartment with a quiet tension that contrasted with her normally vibrant energy. The Cincinnati Police Department, led by Detective Amanda Lewis, was notified. Initial observations revealed no signs of forced entry or disturbance. Investigators canvassed the neighborhood, spoke with the workshop organizers, local store employees, and reviewed available surveillance footage. Flyers were distributed, and volunteers joined search efforts reflecting the community's hope and collective concern for Clara's safety. Witness statements provided limited clarity. Clara was known for her calm and organized lifestyle, with no documented conflicts or disputes. Her absence puzzled friends, family, and colleagues alike. Neighborhood searches and community alerts focused on preserving hope and supporting the investigation rather than speculation. Weeks passed, and leads remained minimal. Detective Lewis's team carefully documented each detail, from interviews to environmental observations, creating a foundation for long-term investigation. Every effort emphasized respect for Clara's life and the community that had come to value her presence. By 1997, the case had transitioned into a monitored cold case. Clara's personal items, notebook, teaching materials, and tote bag, were carefully preserved. Community efforts in her honor continued. The Clara Jensen Youth Arts Fund provided scholarships, creative workshops, and mentorship opportunities for children, ensuring her legacy of nurturing curiosity and learning endured. Advances in forensic technology over the next decade offered new investigative avenues. DNA analysis, fingerprint comparison, and environmental sampling allowed investigators to revisit preserved evidence, offering hope for breakthroughs previously unavailable. Detective Lewis retired in 2004, passing the case to Detective Marcus Hale, renowned for his patience and expertise in long-term investigations. Hale emphasized meticulous review of archival records and forensic material, combining modern techniques with respect for Clara's memory and the community's trust. By 2012, previously overlooked details from archival records emerged. Workshop registration logs, library visitor information, and handwritten notes in Clara's teaching materials provided subtle insights. One librarian, Olivia Harper, who had interacted with Clara on the day she disappeared, recalled small but significant observations that helped clarify her movements and interactions. Through careful reconstruction, Investigators mapped Clara's movements from her apartment to the workshop. Each preserved item, from notebooks to supplies, was analyzed to identify potential interactions or environmental traces. The combination of archival records and modern forensic techniques began to reveal a clearer picture of her final day. Community initiatives remained strong. Schools implemented creative programs inspired by Clara's teaching methods, volunteer organizations expanded mentorship opportunities, and libraries hosted workshops in her honor. Emphasis was placed on celebrating her life and influence, preserving a positive legacy while investigators pursued new leads. By 2015, DNA analysis of preserved materials identified trace evidence previously undetectable. These findings, cross-referenced with archival records, suggested contact with an individual not previously considered, Gavin Whitaker, a contractor who had occasionally worked near the learning center and workshop locations. Detective Hale approached the lead carefully. Employment records, neighborhood logs, and community recollections allowed investigators to reconstruct Whitaker's presence. Each observation, testimonial, and forensic detail was meticulously documented to maintain ethical integrity and respect for Clara's memory. By 2017, forensic testing confirmed subtle interactions between Whitaker and Clara's belongings, including fingerprints and material traces. Each detail strengthened the case, creating a verifiable chain of evidence. Structured interviews with Whitaker were conducted with strict adherence to legal and ethical standards. Initially cautious, he gradually disclosed information regarding interactions with Clara, clarifying ambiguous aspects of her movements on that day. By mid-2018, investigators had verified a comprehensive timeline. Archival records, forensic evidence, and witness statements combined to create a coherent narrative, linking previously unconnected details. Each element reinforced the others, forming a clear understanding of events that had remained unresolved for over 2 decades. Community programs continued to honor Clara's legacy. Schools and libraries hosted art and literacy workshops. Mentorship programs flourished, and educational initiatives inspired by her life expanded. These efforts reinforced her positive influence, ensuring her story remained central to the community's ongoing engagement and inspiration. By early 2019, the groundwork for legal action was being prepared. DNA evidence, fingerprints, and corroborated statements formed a strong foundation for prosecution. Detective Hale coordinated with prosecutors to ensure a clear, ethical, and verifiable case, emphasizing Clara's life and legacy throughout the process. By late 2019, Detective Marcus Hale and his team had begun reconstructing Gavin Whitaker's presence near key locations in Cincinnati during 1996. Employment logs, neighborhood records, and archival documentation confirmed his temporary assignments near the Cincinnati Community Learning Center and surrounding areas. Each record was cross-referenced with eyewitness recollections and preserved materials, gradually forming a clear picture of his movements. Colleagues and neighbors described Whitaker as polite, professional, and largely reserved. He had been involved in local community projects, including occasional volunteering at youth programs, and had interacted minimally with children under supervision. While his demeanor had always been unremarkable, investigators noted patterns in his movements and presence that aligned with Clara Jensen's final day. Clara's preserved belongings, her notebook, teaching aids, and tote bag, became central to the investigation. Advanced forensic analysis revealed fingerprints, trace fibers, and environmental evidence that suggested contact with Whitaker. These small but critical details, when combined with archival logs and interviews, allowed investigators to reconstruct a timeline that had remained unclear for over 20 years. Community engagement remained a vital component. Schools, libraries, and volunteer groups continued programs inspired by Clara, emphasizing mentorship, creativity, and learning. Workshops, art exhibitions, and educational programs highlighted her enduring influence, reinforcing a positive legacy while investigators pursued new leads. By early 2020, forensic breakthroughs provided additional clarity. DNA analysis of preserved materials identified previously undetectable traces. Fingerprints matched archival records, and environmental samples from Clara's tote and teaching materials confirmed Whitaker's presence near key locations. Each element reinforced the developing narrative, creating a robust evidentiary framework. Detective Hale coordinated structured interviews with Whitaker, maintaining strict adherence to legal and ethical standards. Initially cautious, Whitaker gradually acknowledged interactions with Clara on the day she attended the art supply workshop. These statements clarified ambiguities in the reconstructed timeline and provided critical context for previously unexplained evidence. By mid-2020, investigators had assembled a comprehensive timeline of Clara's last day. Every preserved item, from notebooks to workshop materials, contributed to understanding her movements. Archival records and witness statements formed a cohesive narrative, demonstrating the combination of meticulous documentation and modern forensic techniques in solving long-standing mysteries. With the timeline established, Detective Hale worked closely with prosecutors to prepare for legal action. Every piece of evidence, forensic traces, archival documentation, and witness statements, was verified and cataloged to maintain integrity and clarity. The focus remained on honoring Clara's life, emphasizing her positive influence and legacy throughout the process. The arrest operation was carefully planned. Law enforcement coordinated with local authorities to ensure procedural integrity and safety, with a focus on professionalism and respect for the community. The aim was resolution, not sensationalism, ensuring the dignity of all involved while bringing clarity to decades of unanswered questions. In February 2021, Gavin Whitaker was formally taken into custody. He was presented with the evidence linking him to Clara's preserved belongings, including DNA, fingerprints, and corroborated statements. The arrest was conducted efficiently and respectfully, emphasizing resolution and justice while preserving the integrity of the ongoing investigation. Following the arrest, the case file was meticulously organized for prosecution. Each item of evidence, from forensic samples to archival documentation and witness testimony, was carefully cataloged. Schools, libraries, and community programs continued to honor Clara Jensen's legacy through educational initiatives, mentorship opportunities, and arts programming, ensuring that her life remained central to the story even as legal proceedings moved forward. Detective Hale reflected on the investigation. Decades of methodical, ethical work, combined with modern forensic technology, had uncovered the truth. Archival records, preserved materials, and carefully conducted interviews had allowed the team to solve a mystery that had persisted for more than 20 years, all while honoring Clara's life and positive impact. By mid-2021, prosecutors had prepared a comprehensive case. DNA evidence, fingerprints, environmental traces, and Whitaker's own admissions created a compelling foundation for trial. Schools and community organizations emphasized Clara's ongoing influence, highlighting her creativity, mentorship, and dedication to learning. Her legacy remained the central narrative, guiding both the trial and public understanding. Community programs continued to thrive. Scholarships in Clara's name provided opportunities for children to pursue arts and education. Mentorship initiatives encouraged youth involvement, and public workshops reflected her dedication to nurturing creativity and curiosity. Her influence extended beyond the investigation, inspiring future generations to embrace education, creativity, and service. By early 2022, trial preparations were finalized. Every detail, from forensic confirmation to archival documentation and community testimony, had been thoroughly reviewed. The prosecution emphasized clarity, accuracy, and respect for Clara's legacy, ensuring that the trial highlighted her life and influence alongside the resolution of the case. As the trial approached, Community programs expanded. Schools and libraries reported increased participation in creative and educational programs inspired by Clara, and volunteers emphasized mentorship initiatives reflecting her philosophy. Her life continued to guide and inspire, serving as a model of curiosity, creativity, and positive influence. By mid-2022, the case was ready to proceed in court. Every preserved item, witness account, and forensic verification had been reviewed and organized. The combination of decades-long investigation, modern forensic science, and community involvement provided a strong foundation for a successful and respectful resolution. By early 2023, the trial of Gavin Whitaker began, drawing attention not for sensationalism, but for the inspiring story of Clara Jensen, a young educator whose dedication to children, creativity, and mentorship had left a lasting mark on Cincinnati. Detective Marcus Hale and the prosecution team meticulously presented the case, highlighting decades of preserved forensic evidence, archival records, and verified witness statements. DNA analysis, fingerprints, and environmental traces formed a clear, ethical narrative that emphasized Clara's life, character, and enduring influence. The Jensen family, Richard, Elaine, and Louise Jensen, attended each court session with quiet dignity. They shared stories of Clara's warmth, creativity, and her ability to inspire curiosity and confidence in every child she taught. Friends, colleagues, and former students testified about her positive impact, emphasizing her contributions not only to the community, but also to education and personal development. Prosecutors presented the case with precision. Every detail, from forensic breakthroughs to witness statements, reconstructed Clara's last day, demonstrating the strength of patient, methodical investigation. Whitaker's own statements corroborated the evidence, providing clarity for a case unresolved for more than 2 decades. Detective Hale emphasized the value of ethical procedures, patience, and dedication in uncovering truth while honoring Clara's memory. Outside the courtroom, Cincinnati's community celebrated Clara's life. Schools expanded arts and literacy programs inspired by her methods. Libraries hosted creative workshops and mentorship initiatives flourished. Public programs focused on creativity, learning, and personal development, transforming decades of uncertainty into a legacy of inspiration and positive influence. By mid-2023, the trial concluded successfully. Whitaker's admissions, verified through robust forensic evidence, provided closure for the Jensen family and clarity for the community. The case became an example of how patient investigation, ethical standards, and modern forensic science could resolve even the most enduring mysteries while centering the life and legacy of the individual involved. Throughout the proceedings, the Jensen family emphasized remembrance over grievance. They expanded the Clara Jensen Youth Arts Fund, offering scholarships, volunteer mentorship programs, and educational workshops for children pursuing creative endeavors. Libraries, schools, and community centers hosted exhibitions, workshops, and mentorship programs reflecting her values, ensuring her influence continued to grow. Annual events celebrated Clara's life. Student art exhibitions showcased creativity inspired by her teaching. Literacy programs encouraged youth engagement, and mentorship initiatives promoted personal development. Each event highlighted Clara's dedication, positivity, and nurturing spirit, transforming her influence into a living, ongoing legacy. Detective Hale reflected on the broader significance of the investigation. This case shows that careful preservation, patience, and ethical investigation can uncover truth even decades later. Most importantly, we honored Clara's life at every stage. Her story guided the investigation and inspired the community. Schools and community organizations reported thriving participation in programs inspired by Clara. Children engaged in creative projects, literacy initiatives, and mentorship programs, developing skills and confidence while learning values she championed. Volunteers and educators cited her example as a guiding principle, reinforcing her influence across multiple generations. By late 2023, Clara Jensen's presence was felt across Cincinnati. Programs in her honor provided children opportunities to explore creativity, mentorship, and personal growth. Libraries, schools, and community centers became spaces where her philosophy and dedication continued to thrive. The Jensen family, relieved by the resolution, focused on sustaining programs that reflected Clara's values. Scholarships, mentorship initiatives, and educational workshops became permanent programs, ensuring her influence endured. Volunteers and educators incorporated her example into youth programs, preserving her dedication to nurturing creativity and curiosity. By early 2024, the community had fully embraced Clara's legacy. Schools reported increased participation in creative programs. Libraries hosted ongoing exhibitions and workshops, and mentorship programs expanded citywide. Her life served as a model of positive influence, demonstrating that dedication, creativity, and compassion could leave a lasting impact. The resolution of the cold case marked not an end but a continuation of Clara Jensen's influence. Through educational programs, mentorship initiatives, and community outreach, her life continued to guide, inspire, and transform. Cincinnati had converted decades of uncertainty into an enduring story of hope, creativity, and positive legacy. Clara Jensen's story became a beacon for communities confronting unresolved challenges. It demonstrated how careful investigation, ethical practices, and modern forensic technology could provide clarity, while honoring the values and legacy of the person at the center of the case. By mid-2024, students, volunteers, and community leaders continued to reflect on her life. Programs inspired by her teaching and mentorship reached hundreds of children, instilling creativity, curiosity, and confidence. Her influence extended beyond classrooms into the heart of the community, leaving a permanent legacy of inspiration and positive action. The Ohio 1996 cold case had finally reached resolution, yet Clara Jensen's story continued to thrive. Her creativity, dedication, and nurturing spirit left an indelible mark on Cincinnati. Through community programs, mentorship initiatives, and educational opportunities, her legacy lived on. A reminder that a single life lived with purpose could inspire countless others and leave a lasting positive imprint on the world.